A very good morning to our organizer, Wan Surayani bin Basri, Program Leader and Lecturer, Department of Computing and Information Technology for Sabah Branch. Right? Okay, our honorable guest speaker, okay, for the talk event today, Mr. Jafhate Edward, a PhD candidate, University Technology Mara UiTM Shah Alam, all of the respectable participants and esteemed lecturers of other departments in TAUC, fellow students of TAUC on today's live talk. Okay, I'm Jafhate Edward, a lecturer from the Department of Computing and Information Technology. Sabah Branch will be your host for this live talk on this stunning Saturday morning. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Okay, we appreciate you taking your time off your busy schedule to join us in this very Saturday morning. We hope that you all will learn a lot today. Okay, we have lined up for you to be fruitful and engaging towards our live talk on what it is like working in the industry, IT, from theoretical to practical. Your presence today makes remarkable difference for each of us here from DCIT. The main purpose of our event today is to gain and generate the awareness to the public, especially to the university students, on what it is like working in the IT industry from theoretical to practical, to define our purpose in which to help our viewers today to gain tips and skills to increase our speed on utilizing the theoretical versus the practical justification indirectly by giving a deep interest in these terms. Our hope for this event is considered very big, as students can obtain the early exposure as well as the experience on what it is like to traverse out onto the industry side. Next, I would like to invite our speaker, but before that, here is a bit of a background history of Mr. Jafhate, our honorable speaker. Right. So Mr. Jafhate Edward studied foundation in IT of Multimedia University, MMU, a graduated university and UMS from the degree of software engineering and masters in educational technology holder. Mr. Jafhate Edward specialized in mobile application development and software engineering and have a passion in teaching about technology to the society as well as developing mobile apps. He has been working in the industry of IT for 3 years as a mobile application developer in both native and hybrid applications. He has previously worked in experienced companies such as Etika Insurance Berhad as a lead developer handling Etika Insurance Agency applications. Mr. Jafhate Edward also holds an MCE, which is Masters in Education, Computer in Education from the University Malaysia Sabah, currently pursuing in his PhD in computer science under the UiTM, and his majors is in artificial intelligence for healthcare, and he is currently in the process of completing his PhD. He also has an experience in IT courses, training in Asia Metropolitan College Kota Kinabalu and also AMC College Likaswe Sabah. While pursuing his PhD, he is currently a part-time lecturer at UiTM. Okay. Hence, without any further delay, please welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Jafhate Edward.
Oh. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you also to Mr. Jafta, and also for the organizers, and also for TARS for inviting me for this talk. And also thank you all for all the students for joining in this talk. And okay, as you all know from the brief introduction about myself, I am just a student also, but I'm currently pursuing my PhD. And I was invited here to give you a talk about what is like working in the IT industry. Even though right now, I'm currently studying and I'm not working in the IT industry anymore, but I do have like almost 3 years working in the IT industry. What is like working there and what is the environment there? So let me share you my slides here um, and present to you. Okay, so what is like working in the IT industry? So from theoretical to practical. So what is the highlight for this talk is actually mostly towards explaining what is like working there, what is the environment, what is the things that we need to do, what are um, the things that we apply there, from the things that we learn from educational point of view, the things that we learn in class, and then how do we apply that thing, how do we apply that knowledge, apply it into the industry. Okay, for my first experience working in the industry is actually, it's not what I expected from after studying for, actually I started working after I finished my degree. After I finished my degree, I go out from Sabah to Semenanjung to KL. I got a job there at Etika as a mobile app developer. So the first things in my mind is actually I read through all of the textbooks again, all of the reference book from software wise, how to the SDLC, all those things, programming wise. I look all of my projects again before I start working in the IT industry, because I know I will apply all of these things. But actually, it's not what it seems. It's not something that we expect from the things that we learn and then apply it outside. It's not what it seems. It's quite different, because after you go out, so if I'm not mistaken, most of us um, attend this talk is we need to learn. We need to know what it's like after we finish our studies, after we graduate, and also about to pursue in the working environment, IT industry, working experience, or if you take another path, maybe you want to continue studies up until master and also PhD. It depends on you. Either you want to go to the industry, or you want to continue your expand your knowledge by pursuing your studies even further. But if you want, both also can. Like me, after studies, I just go out there, continue with work. And then after that, then I thought again, should I continue with studies? Yes, I think I should. It's not because of the industry is stressful, but it's for my career wise actually, for my career path. So let me continue again. Actually, working in the industry, the first things that you need to do is actually set out all of your mind from the things that you learn in college or in university about programming. Set it aside for a while, sit inside your office, and then study the environment there. So um, but before that, I want to explain to you what is the IT industry. Actually, the IT industry is in the sector of IT. Mostly we are doing, there are three things here, important things, which is software and services. Mostly on, this is the common thing that we do as a software developer. We are developing softwares, systems, apps, mobile apps. So like me, I'm doing mobile apps, mostly on mobile apps. And also, actually, you're going to develop a game as well. As that's the perks of being in the IT major. You are actually contributing a lot of things. The second one is hardware and equipment, mostly on doing hardware. This one is for mostly on those taking in computer hardware courses. The next one is semiconductor equipment, which is much more technical. So these are the three things that the IT industry have. But mostly here the highlight is actually on the software and services because it's much more simpler and much more like the things that we learn is mostly on the software, because in mostly in Sabah for me in UMS they only teach like software and also how to develop software and also some part of it technical about hardware, not to develop all of this equipment, all those things. So mostly I'm going to talk about the IT sector in software development. So, what is software engineering? This is basically straight facts from the reference book. It is actually a practical engineering discipline without scientific ambitions, where rules of thumbs and guidelines assume the role of theory. This is what we learn from the textbook. Okay, the first point of view for me, as a first year on my degree, I don't understand a thing about this term until I apply it in the industry. Actually, when you work in an industry, when you work in a company, there is no textbooks there. There is no textbook where you can refer to. No, you won't open any book. The only thing that you will open is online reference, like W3 schools. You have to like go back to your roots, so like study back all those programming theories on this, practical things. And actually, as a software developer, you are actually a puzzle designer. You're actually like the things that we learn in courses is actually a pieces of puzzle. So after that 4 years of study is actually a combine all of this puzzle into one whole picture where you develop the app or develop the system. So software engineering, software development is like, okay, for example, you want to develop an app. You want to develop an app, a Facebook app. So this Facebook app, you got the function like buttons, all these things. There is no such thing as coding one go. Coding all of this interface into one coding. There's no such thing. You have to like develop, you have to program the buttons, the functions, everything step by step. And then from there, you just like after the pieces are developed, then you just like combine it into one. So that's what it says here. It's like it's like where the rules of thumb and guidelines assume the role of theory. It's like software development is flexible. You don't have to like stick into one discipline. In programming, I cannot like copy paste like this and that. No, it is flexible. It is depends on your play style. It depends on you on how you want to program. You don't have to like strictly follow the books. So it's something like a puzzle actually. Okay, I'm going to explain to you what it's like working here as a software developer based on SDLC, because if I'm just rambling about talking all these things, it's not organized because there's a lot of things to talk about industry. Okay, as you know, this is the standard SDLC. I'm not going to explain more on this because all of you know, because we touched this on the first year. So what is requirement gathering and how do we apply it actually in the IT industry? The first step is requirement gathering. Okay, let me tell you. In the books, they just tell you that okay, requirement gathering is the first step that we need to do. In a company, if after you find a job, after you sit on your desk, the first things that they will do is actually give you. It depends actually. For me, on my experience, After I sit down there, and then I have nothing to do for one whole week, nothing to do. If you got nothing to do, don't just sit there. Actually, you approach your senior, you approach them, and then you ask, hey, what should I do? Is there any works for me? Because they're monitoring you, they're seeing you, they are like viewing you from afar, and then see how will you approach this kind of situation. If you don't have any work, don't just sit there, ask for a job, ask for a task to do. So after 1 week, then actually receive a task, and then that task is not something like, it depends, maybe you'll receive it from an email from your senior, from maybe from a meeting. For my case, I got a meeting, I go for the meeting, and then from that meeting I got it's like in the picture here, all of the seniors, all of the project leader, they sit down in a table, and then they discuss about, okay, this one project we got it from a client, and then this client requires this and that. That is the requirement gathering. That is the requirement that we receive from the client, and then from there they like list down all of the things. Okay, today we are going to develop this project based on this requirement. This user want this app to be something like Facebook. This is the function. Is it offline, online? All those things, those are the requirement gathering. So in a formal matter, you will receive this they will say it verbally first, and then in a formal matter they will pass it down in a form of like a form paper. From there, okay, that is your requirement. It's not complete, actually, it's just a simple draft. It's just a simple draft without any UI. They won't give you a UI. I will explain to you what things you need to do after you receive this requirement. Okay, the next thing is actually planning. So what you're going to do is okay, when you go out there, you are not going to do it on your own. It depends. Maybe if you got a high salary offer, there's a risk. If you got a high salary offer, maybe you are going solo as a team. There's no team there, only you. Because maybe it's a startup company, or maybe it's like a company that they just want to like squeeze all of the things out of you. So you have to do it all on your own, but you have a higher salary. Depends. Maybe you got a team, you got a project leader, you got a senior, and also you got a team of juniors developers. In your case, you will be in the probation developer. It's like about 3 months like that. So in a team, you will actually given a task. Okay, you are a developer. You will not going to design all those things. There are two categories here in planning. One is planning for the UI, the front end. The other one is the back end. The back end is actually the servers, all those things, all the API, all those databases. But for the front end is as you know, it's just the UI. It's the interface. It's actually the backbone of it, the backbone of the UI. So how do you plan it? You actually need to plan it, sit it. In my case, in my experience, I sit in a table near my team. It's a long table. So from there, you got your business analyst team, you got your project leader. You have to listen to your project leader. And also you have to trust in your team. Okay, I'm going to do this. Today, my task is I'm going to program. I'm going to do, okay, this login screen. I'm going to develop this login screen. And then your other team will be doing a logout screen, something like that, or register screen like that. So you have to plan with your team what you're going to do, allocation of tasks. So if you like didn't plan anything, if you didn't listen to them, you're going to do the same task, and the task will be like overlap with each other, and then you waste your time. So after your plan is actually, if depends if you got a task for as a front end developer or as a back end developer. For me myself, I got both as a front end developer and also as a developer, as a program developer, for that system developer. For this, wait, For this actually, for this planning is actually you need to apply it, because I think most of us know that we learn from SDLC, we have to do like prototype, but they didn't say specifically about wireframe and mockup. I learned these two from the industry, because we only learn about prototype. Let me tell you, prototype is much more expensive. Expensive in time, not cost. Expensive in time means that you have to spend a lot of time doing that prototype. Prototype is something that almost the same as the real product, as the real system. You can like click here, go there, but one thing, there is no functionality. There is no real function. It's offline. You can do this in some example of like online services online. You can just Google it, Ninja Mock, Mock Plus. You can also use Canva for prototype. But in for me, I prefer, rather than just straight away go to prototype and waste my time there. After I got UI, all of those designs from the front end developer, a front end designer, UI UX designer, then I will do the wireframe or mockup. Or in my case, there's also situation where the front end UI UX are not there, so I have to design my own design UI UX. So from here, I just use, instead of using wireframe. Wireframe is something like, it's just a structure. There's no picture, something like this. Just to give a brief idea about what are the apps that we need to do, or what are the system that we need to do. For me, in my case, I use mockup. Mockup is much more faster. It's somewhere in between prototype and wireframe. So once you design everything, you have to follow the UI UX design guidelines, and then after you're done with that, then you show to your project leader first. Hey boss, I got this mock-up of the based on the requirement. What do you think? You have to like accept all comments with an open mind. Of course, you will reject on the first time. If you're lucky, maybe on the first time, okay, this is nice. You just continue like that. So if you got comments like that, and then once you got your mock-up, once you got UI, then you can start design. You cannot start, then you can start develop. You cannot start develop without an open picture on what you're going to design first. That's why it's important to do this kind of UI UX, just imagination for you to, as a guideline for you to develop. So the design is something that once you done with the mockup, then you will continue with UI UX design, the front end. This one is you have to do with the CSS for HTML, for website. If you're designing a website, you have to do all those things. And for app, you have to do all of the XML layout, all of those all of those layout and everything. So it's like on the right side here, you just show your picture of your mockup, and then on the left side, you prepare your codings like that. So you code while you refer to your layout that you design. That is the proper way to work. You cannot like imagine everything and then you code one by one. It's time consuming. This is the proper way. If not, you will get scolded by your boss, if you're like taking a lot of time. So the next is the most crucial part, which is you start development. Development of UI is different from coding wise. This one is more towards coding your functionality. You got the skeleton already, and then you got your layout. Now the thing is you try to work the magic. That's why coding is much more important. In coding, based on experience, based on my experience, the first month, the first few months, I like to code in one go. I like to code everything in one, which they call it as spaghetti coding. All of the coding inside one file. And then that is super like inappropriate way to do, but it's faster, but is not the correct way to do. Why? Because Later, if you like to do all the spaghetti coding in one file, all of those coding in one file, like for about like 10,000 lines of codes in one go without applying any object-oriented programming, you will suffer. You will suffer here in the sixth phase, development and maintenance, because it's not like, okay, I develop and then I just let go of the project. No, once you develop the project, you will provide ongoing support for like, maybe 1 year or 2 years, and then you will refer to your coding again. So it's like you're making yourself harder for you in the future. It's like you're going to make you suffer. So don't do that. Apply object oriented. That's why what we learn um, from theoretical. We learn from our courses, from our university, from our lecturers. They ask us to do it this object-oriented way. The first time I don't understand why we need to do that, but in the industry, we need to apply it. If not, you're going to make you suffer in the future on yourself. It's like you're making yourself harder. Okay, so once that done is actually code testing. In the code testing in the industry, it depends on the company. For me myself, I test on my own. I'm the tester, I'm the developer, and also I'm the front end developer, but not the back end. So for code testing, they will give you a use case of user testing. This use case in the form of like a form, the things that you need to try, the things that you need to do is like a step-by-step instruction. It's like for about maybe 10 instructions. And then after you finish, like go through that step-by-step, if like, I'm sorry, okay, if like it goes through with the case, you just tick on the form like, yes, it goes through. So means that pass the user test. Apply it for like 10 times, and then if all of the tests are completed, then you pass it to your testing leader, tester leader. There's a tester leader in your company, or if else, maybe you can just give it to your project leader. Okay, I passed the user testing, now I can proceed on deployment. Okay, on deployment is much more important, and it is crucial for you to apply this, because in deployment, this is the most stressful part. If you want to deploy, make sure that everything, because there's two environment in the build. Okay, in the build here, there's two environment. So, oops. In the build here, there's two environment. Actually, there is development environment and also real production and also development environment. All the codings that you do is actually in the development. Once you're done with the development, you just transfer the environment, just change the coding into live. Meaning, how do you do it? You change all of the URL of your system, change it to production URL. Once you change it, that is the production. Then you deploy it. Once you deploy it, make sure there is no URL left from the development, because you are going to face a lot of problems if you forgot to change the URL to production. So once you deploy, you just not going to like, okay, I deploy and then you go home. No, it's not like that. Deployment always start at night. It depends, maybe in the morning if you handle like international time. But for me, deployment always start at night, because most people sleep there. So most of the users sleep. We as a developer, we are going to work. We are going to deploy it at night. Deploy. After we deploy, then maybe you can go back home, and then in the morning, of course, there will always be a problem where users are awake. They are using the system, the website, the app, and then they found any issue. An issue where they cannot log in, they cannot register, there is this bug, and those things. You have to be prepared. This is the most stressful part. Once you prepare, you have to fix the bug and everything. And another crucial part is to apply version control. For example, you deploy in version 1. Okay, then you got to fix a user complaint. You fix it based on the requirement. uh, how you fix it, actually you will receive a form. You will receive a form. For my case, I receive a form from my project leader. Hey, this is the things that we need to do and improve, patch, and also to fix the bug. This is the requirement. Fix the login screen. There's a bug here. Once you find the bug, fix it. Change the version to 1.0.1 or 1.1, depends. Always start with 3. 1.0.1 or 2, like that. Then you deploy. Once you deploy, make sure to apply version control. There's a list of online version control repository like Git. I think you all know this. I think we learned this in the reference in our studies as well about version control. So this is how we apply. I mean, I cannot show you how we apply because it takes a lot of time to explain this version control. But one thing we know, one thing we need to know is when we apply version control, always ask your superior, hey, I want to update the app. This is the next version. Should I commit? Commit means like you replace the old version. Should I commit to the version control repository? Yes, you should. Then you update the version. And remember, in coding, in as a developer, there is no such thing as a delete function. Means that you delete a coding. Never delete a coding. If you delete a coding, and then the person next to you who is going to take over your project, there will be an hectic chaos there. In my experience, I always delete the coding. No, I won't delete. For previous version, I won't delete. I just like comment it. Comment it. Okay, this is from previous version. I just type it. This from previous version. Please, you may study this, but don't turn it on like that. Something. It's just for reference, because this is going to be like a protocol for you. Because if you delete something, you may delete someone's data. So don't delete. Okay, so this is just the organization chart. So the client is the user. In this structure, this is just a typical one. It may depend, change depends on what company you're working from. There is always a project manager, business analyst, designer for the front end, developers like us, uh, front end or back end, and also the QA. I'm not sure what is QA here. So this is just a typical one. So where are we? Actually, we are actually in the developers or maybe in designer, but not in project manager or business analyst. Not in here. No, you have to work for it. Maybe around like 7 years, I guess, or 5 maybe. Then you get the title to be here. For us, we're only like designer or developers. So what are the cons of working industry? It is actually stressful, especially in the development part and also the deployment part. It is very stressful. It's not something that you just sit there and then if you love coding, you yourself will be also stressful, even if you love coding, because there's a lot of requirements. Not just one project, project that keep on coming and going. More one project comes and then you have to do this. At the same time, you have to do another project, small minor project. You have to do development. You have to do bugs fixing. You have to do like requirement gathering again. Everything. It's like 3 tasks in one go. It's very stressful. It's very. But there are times where you are just doing nothing there. From there, you can relax. Another thing is actually time management. There's a lot of time management here. You're working from 8 to 5, those standard time. But mostly as a developer, you're always going to do overtime. Maybe in a week, maybe around 2 or 3 times in a week, especially in development or deployment. Deployment, maybe 2 weeks, you're going to do overtime. So you have to manage your time carefully. Another thing is this deployment issue. This is the thing. You have to be careful on the things that you deploy. I make myself major grave mistake. Those are the days where I just I deploy the wrong app, the wrong app into the production. Then I was scolded by the boss. And then from there, I have to stay at the office and then try to fix all of my issues from there. This is the most stressful part. And then project deadline. Okay, in a team, if you didn't manage to manage your time carefully, you will meet the project deadline. Then client or the customer users will like scold you, hey, where's my product, where's my system, where's my app? You said you're going to deliver on this one, but no, you didn't. Then from there, project manager got scolded, you got scolded as a developer. Next is the fixing of bugs and also apply updates. All these things is common. Once you deploy, there's no such thing as you just sit there and then wait for a new project. No, the more project you do, like 10 project, the more things that you need to support. There's no like finish one project, then move on to the next project. No, there's no such thing. You always provide support. Okay, what are the cons? Those are the cons. Now this is the pros of working in the IT industry. Okay, why? Because it is very well paid. Means that you're being paid in a high salary actually. In working as a developer, working in the IT industry, this is the average software developer salaries worldwide. Where in the USA, there's a lot. You can see there's a lot of greens here. And I couldn't find for Malaysia here, but I do find something like this in Malaysia. This one is in Singapore. So like, for example, like in Grab, working as a junior developer, even for junior, you got like 5,000. If you're a lead, you get 10,000. But if you're working in a big company like Google, it's much more than that. But for standard industry, just something like this. But for me, just going to tell you, when I was working as a junior developer, I got around in Semenanjung, in KL, starting about 3,000 ringgit. Those were 2016, I guess. Yeah, 2016. I got 3,000 ringgit as a fresh graduate. I got no experience, 3,000. But then I worked so hard in the first year. I think on the 6 months, I got a promotion raise where from my 3,000, I got the maximum I got was 4,500. After working for 2 months, I was performing well. I didn't ask for a raise; they raised it for me. If you're working in a private company, but for government, it's quite difficult for that. But that's the perks of working in a private company. So another pros of working in the IT industry is actually the working environment. It is very even though it's stressful, there's a lot of friends there, a lot of co-workers there where you can just talk, you can relax. If you're working at Google, which is very hard, but once you got in, it's something like this. It's like a cafe. The office is like a cafe. You can relax. You can it's like a Avengers Towers like this. You just relax and then do your programming. There's no office for you. But for standard office, it's something on your left side. It's like just a long table there, and then all of the developers are sitting side by side, and then working on the front end, working on the back end, everything. Typical programmers, something like that. That's the typical one. And then you may got an activity like that where you play games together. So it's just the pros of working. So if you like trade it off for the cons, it's worth it for the money and for the environment for me myself. So I think that's all from me. So I move this section right now for Q&A. So any Q&A you can just ask me about career wise, industry wise, also what more things about industry. Okay, thank you. So any question? Okay, got two questions. Oh, one question is from Calvin. Did you work on both ends before, front and back end? Well, I do on my, I think on my second company in Africa. I do actually. Oh wait, on my third company. They call it as a rockstar developer. Rockstar developer where you work both ends, front end and back end. I do. But for me, I'm not that too strong in back end because back end is more towards the database. For me, I'm more towards the front end, the designer, UI UX, and also the development part. So, okay, does that answer your question, Calvin? Okay, next. Okay, nice. Okay, next question. Can we? How long are the project usually? Depends on the requirements. Standard time is 1 month. Longest time 6 months. Even longer, a big project took around 1 year, but those are quite seldom. So usually you will receive, depends on the company. Smaller company, if you're in a smaller company, you will receive a smaller requirement, maybe around 1 week, like that. So it depends. Okay, next question. So many questions. Okay, next question. Hello, sir. Is it possible to find job after diploma? Yeah, it is possible. It is. It is possible, but they may scale you with that wage of salary. Depends on your degree of education. So if you diploma, you may got like it depends, maybe around 2,000 like that. But they will hire you. They will. Actually, in an industry, they won't they won't matter about your education. The most important part is experience. If you got 10 years of experience, even though your diploma, you still get. I think in a private company, you will still get a higher salary when they hire you. But for me, my advice is just continue with degree because most company nowadays they like to hire degree people. Okay, next question. Uh, okay, what language is mainly spoken during meetings? Oh, what language? Depends. It depends because the IT company is vast, you know. Here in Sabah, they mostly use English and Malay. But if you're mostly in a big company, they use English. But for me, on my second company, it's an Indian company. They speak Indian, you know, but then again, they speak English. So you have to like get used to it. So, what's your advice for fresh grad in finding a job? Advice. Okay, and my advice for as a fresh graduate, finding a job is not easy, but it's not that entirely difficult as well. When you find a job, don't be picky. Don't be picky. Oh, sorry. When you find a job, don't be picky. Just look at the requirement, job requirement. From there, if like you're fresh grad and then they ask for fresh grad are welcome like that, just apply for it. Make sure that it is close to your place. The salary is good enough. Don't look at the job. Just look at the salary, the place, and also does it apply for higher salary like that? You just take it. Then if you got rejected, don't worry, it's normal. In my case, I got rejected many times, but I got accepted many times. How I do it? In job street, I just apply everything. I just apply around 10 like that. Click, 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 click. And then once I got interview, then I check the job description. Oh, I apply for this. Then, oh, it's a good company. Then sometimes, oh, why did I apply for this? And something like that. So yeah, my advice is don't be picky. Just apply everything. Then from there, you just filter out which one do you want. Okay. So many question. Okay, previously did you receive plenty of project in a small time period? Wait, did I? Oh wait, there's a lot. Okay. Let me go with Terry's question first. Okay, any tips on time management in working in the IT industry? Okay, tips. My tips is not tips actually. Um, because it's flexible, every company have their own time management. So for me, how I manage my time is when I just arrive, I straight away um, do my works. I do my works up until I finish up until 5 so that I won't bring the works home and I won't like delay my works until the next day like that. So it depends on you. Maybe you're going to do OT. So maybe depends. I cannot give an precise advice on this because it depends on the company. Okay, previously did you receive plenty project in a small period of time? Yeah, a lot. Got this one situation where I got like three, three in one go, three small project. And then from there, I have to manage my time. I have to deliver everything in 2 weeks. From there, 2 weeks, I will do OT, but I managed to complete it in 1 week. Depends on the requirement because mostly once you prepare the backbone, you just can copy paste from previous project. Okay, this function is almost the same as this requirement. I can just copy and paste, then save your time, something like that. Yeah. So, have you ever had simultaneous work on more than one? Or this one, I think, is same question as Ferry. Okay, what is the most difficult part of working in the industry? Difficult part, as for me, the difficult part is the most difficult part is actually um, requirement gathering. Yeah, you need to understand the requirement gathering because got this one situation where I just don't understand the requirement gathering. I didn't ask my senior. I just do based on my experience, and then what come out is not. They ask for example, they ask for a car. What I give is a bicycle. It's something like that. It's entirely different. So you have to understand the requirement gathering because that's the most basic part. Once you understand, then from there it will be like smooth sailing for you. So next question is it after becoming a programmer will you lose your private time? Because we need to always back up private time because we need to always back up if let's say company software got issue. What do you mean here, Yun Huan? Is it all after becoming a programmer we lost our private time because we need to always back up if let's say company issue? Or you mean like our time is it? Then we become you mean we spend most of our time in doing and in fixing this issue, is it?
Hi, good morning, sir. Yeah, I mean like maybe we don't have our own time to do our own thing because we need always backup for a company like this. Is it?
Oh, for me, not entirely. I mean, you won't lose your personal time. Is even though you lose your personal time, like okay, for this one project you have to do it because of this one issue, and then you have to do it. For example, okay, this is Saturday and Sunday, and then suddenly, all of a sudden, you are going outside. Then there's got this crucial issue. The boss call you, hey, you got issue, you have to fix this. If not, you the boss will be mad, and then what you're going to do is you have to go back. You have to go back, and yeah, you lose your personal time. You may have to work the issue one night and fix it. For me, I always bring my laptop when I like jalan-jalan like that. When I go out, I always bring my laptop, my small notebook, and then from there I always be ready. If there's an issue, I can just rest in a cafe, and then from there I fix the issue like 30 minutes like that, 5 to 30 minutes. So but that is like seldom happen, seldom, like in a month maybe one time, maybe in a month maybe 2 times, seldom. So I am studying software engineering. Oh wait, this is from Chunling. So right now I'm studying software engineering, but now about game development. So is it possible to join a game development company from the job? Yeah, it is. It is possible. It is. It is. But you won't be doing those graphic, those 3D design, like design all those characters and everything. You will be handling the programming part. Example, it's like this character, you're going to do a collision function, collision programming, where this character will go through almost like collide on the wall. What are the programmings that you need to do for that? The logics. It's actually you're going to do the logic of all the games for that. Actually, it is possible. The requirements is only like you understand what is Unity programming, and also basic programming, I guess. I think you can. It is possible for you. I did apply for a game company actually, but here in KL, mostly on mobile app games. But that one they need experience. But if you want to find, there is actually in Singapore, in Ubisoft like that, you can actually apply there. There's a lot of game company, but here in Malaysia, mostly in mobile app, like FX Explore for the mobile app games. I think, okay. Okay, what's the next question? Game development, okay. Okay, what is this for Jafta? Okay, may I know what kind of IT related part-time job that you will recommend? Okay. Any IT related part-time job? Part-time job for IT. I think as a part-time job, you can do programming. Depends. Maybe minor bugs fixes, fixing minor bugs, and also front-end developer, like designing the interface from the requirements. But for backend, I don't recommend doing as a part-time because backend is always ongoing support. It's quite stressful for you. It depends on you. Oh. Oh, you mean how do you handle your stress when you're working in the IT industry? Oh, I thought it's for Jafter. It's for me. Okay. How do you handle your stress when working in the industry? How I handle my stress? How I handle my stress, like if most of the time, if I cannot, like if I'm stuck with a bug, I cannot fix it. To tell you the truth, I just give up. I give up, but I only give up for one day. I only like rest for one day, and then it's like I'm throwing on the towel for one day, and then I rest. From that rest, I think how to solve. Then the next day, I managed to solve it in my dreams. When I was dreaming on how to program, then I got the idea on how to fix it. Then from there, well, I'm not stressed anymore. Or maybe you can like play games or do the things you love for that one day while resting. Okay, did you and Jefter work in the same IT company? Same IT company, same IT. Same IT. I'm not sure if it's the same, but it's the same. Like, it's not the same. We are working in different IT company before. He's working in KLCC, near to KLCC, and I'm working below KLCC, like that. It's something like that. So he's like a boss above me. Before I was like below. There's a lot of company in KLCC. So he's the one that working with Petronas. I'm working with those small company. So sometimes during lunch we meet, something like that. Yeah, I think. Oh, there's one more question. Is it possible to work as a quality assurance right after graduate? Quality assurance, yeah, it is possible. Actually, for qualification for quality assurance, it's not that too much actually. As long as you know a bit part of project management, as long as you know that, then they will hire you. They will teach you. There is a program in each company. They call it a knowledge transfer. From that knowledge transfer, they will teach you the things that what needs to be done in a company, in your task actually, in your field. So yeah, it is possible. So is there any question? I think I'll have one question about. Oh, this one is from Calvin. What language is mainly? Oh, wait, no, no, sorry. I think, yeah, I think that's all, I guess. Oh, another question from Adriel. Or the freelance job in this industry? Freelance job. Well, there's a lot of freelance job in this industry. Mostly in a company, we will outsource. We will do outsourcing from freelancer, but mostly on another company. But for a small task, they will like post this job for a freelancer. They will like pay you. It's not that much actually. It's like hundreds, or it won't reach to. It will reach thousand. Depends on the requirement on your task. So for me, as a freelance job, to make a side income should be okay. Because most of the freelance job is quite um, easier for you, easier for us to complete. They won't give you a big task. For example, like, can you do this design? Can you design for us according to this requirement? It's just something like that. It won't be difficult. Should be okay, but it won't take much of your time. So should be okay. Does working in private company gives better experience than public one? Yeah, yeah, it is. During my internship, I was working in a government. In a government, so in the government, they didn't teach you anything. I was working in KPS KTM Sabah, near the job seat, something about, yeah. It's in the pembangunan pembandaran. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's my role. They didn't tell you. You just sit there and do technical work, like fixing the hardware and everything. There is some programming, but quite seldom. And then there's no job. For example, there's 1 month I didn't do any job. I only go for meeting. For meeting, we just talk only, and then there's this big project we should do, and then there's nothing. There's no work around how to do that. It's just sitting there and do less experience. So when I work in a private company, they teach a lot of things. We do a lot of mistakes. From that mistake, we learn a lot of things. So it's my opinion. Based on my opinion, maybe if you find a good government job, maybe you can go there. But based on my experience, actually working in a private company is much more better experience. So does working in private company gives wait, 1 year and good for career? Yeah, it is good for career. I rent a house while working in KL. Yeah, I rent a house. Yeah, I rent a room actually. To rent a house is quite expensive here. Around one house is around 1,500, and a room is 500, 300, like that. Yeah, find a place near LRT. Near LRT is much better. So because most of the IT company resides in the center of KL. So the center of KL, there's a lot of public transport there, LRT mostly. You can just live in maybe Subang Jaya around Selangor, as long as near to LRT. From LRT, and then you can just use the LRT, go to work. My previous last time I was staying in Subang Jaya. In front of me is actually, in front of our place is the LRT. So from that LRT, we just go and masuk LRT, and then 30 minutes arrive to center of KL. Then start your work, day in, day out, like Japan environment. There's no, cannot say there's no life. There is life and you got the salary. But once you start working, there is life as well, talking with your friends there and everything. But once you start working, yeah, that's the part. That's the stressful part. Sir, hello sir. Any ways to find a job? Like, does sir use LinkedIn? Yeah, I use LinkedIn. Previously, I used JobStreet, but currently, if you realize, if you use JobStreet, most of the company they just like to post job, but they won't update the job. They won't like 20% to find you. There will be 20% to reach out to you. But for previously in 2016, it is a widely used platform. We will get a job, high percentage for you to get a job. But right now, I'm not sure why. Maybe there's a lot of competitor. Like you can use LinkedIn, you can use Monsters, you can use like Hiredly. There's a lot of things. But for me, for right now, this year and last year, I recommend to use LinkedIn. Monster is mostly Indian company, Indian IT company. I'm not saying, but it is true. Most of the monsters they will, hello sir, do you like to work for like something like that? They will call you, the recruiter. They will keep on calling you for monsters. High chance to get a job in an IT company for monsters because they will pursue you a lot, even during at night. And you can use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is mostly on professional profiles. So if you want to work in a very big company, use LinkedIn. And also Hiredly. Hiredly is good. Hiredly is okay, really good. If you register for Hiredly, you also get 100% to get a job there. Good company job, a good well-known job at Hiredly. It's spelled out like this. Hiredly. For this. Hiredly. So, any more questions? Actually, depends on you which platform you want to use. But for me, I prefer LinkedIn, Hiredly, and also JobStreet. You can try, I guess. But for monsters, just be careful. There's a lot of scammers there as well. If you like update your profile, and then you got a call from monsters, that the first thing, the red flag that you need to see is actually the salary. If they like offer you around 10,000 USD dollars, then you have to be careful there because there's a scammer there as well. They will like for me, I received from monsters to work at Dubai for $20,000 Dubai dollar. It was like so ridiculous. Yeah, so you have to be careful. So, any more questions? If there is any more questions, I think most of you like to ask about industry. How does it like to work there? But not in programming, because in programming it just depend on your play style. Depends on your coding style. Which one do you want? So I may say it like this, but actually it's hard to explain the experience that we're going through. After we, wait, on working on the first project, is it intimidating? Yeah, it is. As I said just now, on my first project that I received as my probation test, I will look all of the reference book, all of my notes back from my study days. And then from there, I regret, oh my God, I wish I learned, I wish I focused during class. Yeah, I wish I said that. I wish I did that. I wish I focused during class. Because during class, what the lecturers told you is actually true. You have to apply it. You have to apply 100%, but not theory. Not like you follow that programming style exactly. Depends on you. So it is intimidating. It is quite difficult on the first project. There's a lot of things that you need to plan first before you start coding. And then you're going to take a lot of time to complete your first project because you still need to uh, gather your experience. From that, mistakes and everything is your experience. So for me, my first project took around 1 month, like that. Then I deliver. It is still within the deadline, so should be okay. Did some, yeah, some company will question your coding style, your coding. Some company, example, when I was working in Bangsar in Etika, I was hired as a client, as a as a vendor, you know. So I do the coding. They like hand over the project to me. So the project, I look at the project, and then I complain. Why is it so messy? There's no version control. There is version control, but it's so messy. It's like everything inside. There's a lot of spaghetti. So I have to like learn on my own. I have to learn all of the coding. I question the previous coders' coding style. I question, and then I do my own coding style. Another vendor come in, look at my coding, they also complain. So it depends. Actually, it's normal for any company to complain your coding style, but as long as it is workable and as long as it is workable and you can understand your own coding style, you will transfer that knowledge to the next person in charge. From there, you just said, okay, this is my coding style. You don't have to just follow it 100%, but I only show you the important things, what you need to do, what you don't need to do, those things. So yeah, it depends actually. It depends on your coding style, and don't change your coding style if people like tegur you. If they like critique you about your coding, don't change entirely. Just change the bad part of it, because you cannot change your coding style 100%. But if your coding style is spaghetti style, then change. Spaghetti style is not good. In one file of coding, no, it's not good. Change to object oriented. Try to learn object oriented programming. Yeah, like me, I use spaghetti on my first project, and the boss complained to me, "Why you use in one file? It's easier for me." I said, "Yeah, I know it's easier for you, but it's so messy, man." So yeah, you don't have to do it. Just learn object oriented. I know in class in education it's quite difficult to learn object oriented. I know, because you haven't applied practically. If you apply it in a company practically, then you will know it is important. So yeah, I think is there any more questions? If there is no more questions, then I pass this to Mr. Jafhate.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Jafet, for your honest and pleasable answers towards the questions that has been asked by our fellow students. Right. Again, thank you very much for the interesting and remarkable talk by Mr. Jafet Edward. So, as a closure to our live talk today, please fill in your attendance, everybody. We would like to also thank you that all of you are actively participating in this morning talk. I hope you all enjoy the program and have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you and bye bye.